M.Org Society. M.Org Society features articles of enlightening subjects of our era of civilization. This series is titled Corruption Themes. This article of the series is Corruption and the Chain of Command, an introduction to corruption, and an understanding of contemporary life, peace, humanitarianism and corruption. A society of people operates ideally, as its people live there, in civil humanitarian peace. The activities of community, economy, and government would function efficiently, as the laws of this society efficiently governs it, by humanitarianism. Origin: humanitarian laws of the Constitution generally influence peace and order by some basic elements of human rights, justice, and laws of peace, and laws of opportunity, fairness, and humanitarianism. Contemporary life is the basic civil environment and ideal that the comprehension of the Constitution's laws intends to create. Life experience in a society of peace, ideally operating in contemporary settings, is a most basic natural desire of every human being, as it is most logical. Problems in civil life: anti-humanitarianism, conflict, destruction, and tyranny, war, and terrorism, chaos, disorder, crime, and corruption are the problems or adversity that threaten civil humanitarian life. Corruption is committed to the community. Corruption is a crime committed to the community, or the economy, of a society, creating harm to people, where the crime is organized and controlled, in a professional way. And likely, corruption's common intention or features are tyranny and oppression, and ordinarily operates some form of extortion, mobbing, gang terrorism, and bullying. Contemporary life. Being aware of what contemporary life is like, the view of the operation of corruption would appear as sheerly terrible to occur or manifest in one's society. Corruption's chain of command. Every operation of organized professional activities will have a structure of leadership. By conceptually identifying and understanding an organization of the structure of leadership, we will be able to use this important factor to identify the leaders and operators of modern corruption operations, the different elemental entities of a civilization, such as organizations, businesses, and government bodies. Determine the different types of professions, trades and occupations that run society. Entities of a society. Entities of a society would include businesses, organizations, temples, churches, video game stores, government departments, farms, performing arts theaters, and military bases. Continuing on, the chain of command. The order of lead and control of corruption operations, from leader professional to corruption workers or operators, would define the chain of command. Every concept of operation will have profession types to run the types of operations. To have a leader, or leaders, to manage the operations running these profession types, and professional workers or operators of these different trades to run the operations. Corruption activity. like any other profession, are conducted with some concept of skilled activity. And thus, corruption operations in greater capacity are generally much similar in the skilled activity, as the ordinary trade operations of society. Now that we understand the meaning of the chain of command, and what this factor means, in identifying persons in corruption operations, this will end our introduction. And we will continue to discuss additional concepts, of the subject of corruption and humanitarianism, further in this series. Here is some additional insight, of the philosophy of humanitarianism. Surely every mature and developed humanitarian, will care for all human beings, of whatever philosophy they contain, to operate within themselves. The basic humanitarian will guard and care for all humans, and train them in the basics of survival, and virtue, and the way to prosper in life, and make their best effort to protect themselves and their custodians, from the destruction of anti-humanitarianism. But, once their custodian is mature enough, the humanitarian guardian will tend to choose, to not be bored. But he will then associate and interact for his amusement, those that he most desire, those of whom more ideally matches his philosophy, outside of his general humanitarian need, to raise and guide others. Humanity have evolved to recognize the rights of freedom, of expression, of thought, and acts. And of acts, it assumes these acts are humanitarian. This is mentioned in particular, where in the realm of place and people, that you will associate and interact with. The philosophy by which one operate within himself, would have to be mutually accepted, in that realm and place. Assuming you are associating with the people, in that realm. In conclusion, these factors of knowledge, of the operations of corruption, are valuable concepts to focus on. For they are prime factors, in the calculation of identifying, corruption lead heads, and operators.